Right now, you are going to learn about the strangest laws from the Roman Empire. In ancient Rome, purple was the most special color, and only the emperors could wear it. They wore purple togas, which was a Roman costume, and made the rule that no one else could wear purple. This rule existed to stop people who weren't rich from showing off as if they were actually rich. Such laws are called sumptuary laws. The idea behind such laws that Romans, just by looking at someone, could understand who they're talking to and whether or not this person is important. So they could know how to treat the person. These rules were very strict. For example, if you weren't Roman citizen, you couldn't wear a toga at all. Only an emperor could wear purple, as was said before, because the dye was super expensive. It came from Phoenicia and was made from a lot of mollusks, so each purple toga was very expensive. For Romans, a funeral was a very important event. So people would carry the dead person's body down the street, crying along the way, which was considered to be a sign of respect to the dead person and made the deceased look good in the eyes of others. To look good in front of others, some people even paid to professionals to fake cry. Women who didn't even know the person who died were paid to join in, acting really sad by pulling out their hair and scratching their faces. The Roman legislators decided that it's enough and made a rule which prohibited crying at funerals at all. During the time when Emperor August ruled Rome, a special law was created. This law was part of August's plan to improve morals, aiming to increase the number of children born to Rome's leading families and encourage traditional family life. One earlier law, the Lex Julia, punished high-ranking people if they didn't get married or if they married someone who was freed from slavery. The new law expanded these rules to anyone living in Rome, and actually provided rewards to families with many children, like not having to obey some laws or getting some extra money. Even though a lot of people didn't like the law, it stayed around until the 5th century AD. Now let's jump from the laws to actual punishments. One of the most elaborated and horrifying punishments in the Roman Empire was inflicted for patricide, or killing your father. A person convicted of killing his father was blindfolded as unworthy of the light and taken to the fields outside Rome, stripped of everything and whipped with rods. He was then sewed up in a sack and thrown into the sea. Later Romans also came out with the idea of putting the animals into the sack, such as ape, dog or cock. And back to the laws. There was a unique rule in ancient Rome called Usucapion, which let people become the owner of something if they had it for a certain time. So this law actually created a lot of interesting opportunities for talented thieves. In the Roman Empire, the time needed to own something this way changed based on what the item was. For the things you could move, it usually was 1 year. But for land and building, so the real estate, it was 2 years. The idea was that if the real owner didn't notice or fight for their property, they shouldn't keep it. This rule helped to clear out who owned what, especially when there weren't good records. But you actually couldn't legally use the Usucapion if the item was stolen or got by hurting someone or lying. The person claiming ownership had to honestly think it was theirs to keep. If the real owner proved that the item was taken or got wrongly, they could get it back, no matter how long it had been with the new owner. For Romans, choosing to end one's life or commit suicide, in other words, was seen as a wise decision. The emperors would often keep the poisons ready in case of emergency, and persons who were very sick might be given hemlock to drink to stop their pain. However, soldiers, slaves and prisoners were not allowed to take their own lives, mainly for practical reasons. Soldiers were too valuable to lose, criminals had to face trial so the government could take their assets, and if a slave died by suicide, their owner could get their money back. However, in Roman Empire there even was a place where asking for a right to commit a suicide was an official process. Someone feeling very unhappy could ask the government for the right to die, and if approved, they were provided with the poison. Roman dads had the right to, well, sell their children for some time, so pretty much to rent the kid to other people. They would make a deal with someone and then the person would own a child for a bit. However, they had to bring the child back afterwards. However, if a dad sold his child 3 times, he was seen as a bad parent. The child would have to go through the 3rd time of being sold, however, then they would be free from their parents. So there was a rule that you could only sell each child up to 3 times, so if a parent had already sold one child twice, they could start selling another one of their children. The practices of good parenting in the Roman Empire seem to vary a lot from nowadays. As you already understand, in ancient Rome, fathers had complete control over their families, even to the point of killing their family members if they misbehave. The scary thing is that this power lasted even when the children became adults. Daughters had to obey their fathers even after getting married, and sons only became independent when their fathers died. Over time, Rome changed these rules a bit. By the 1st century BC, fathers were no longer allowed to kill family members, except in cases where the son was found guilty of a crime. The Romans thought that lightning strikes were caused by Jupiter, their god, as a sign of his anger. So if lightning hit something, they believed it was because the Jupiter wanted to destroy it, no matter if it was a tree or a person. So if someone's friend or family member was struck by lightning, their relatives were not actually allowed to move their body or bury it, as doing so would mean taking away the sacrifice made to the Jupiter. However, there was a way to atone for this action. If someone did bury a person hit by lightning, the punishment was that they would be sacrificed to Jupiter in place of the struck person. And that wraps up our journey through some of the most bizarre and intriguing laws of Roman Empire. Thank you for being here and watching my content, and if you did enjoy this video, don't forget to like and subscribe, and of course to share it with your friends. Until next time, bye!